If you're over 60 and still waking up at night clutching your legs in pain, this isn't just getting old. It's a warning. Your body is trying to speak, but the world taught you to ignore it. So, you tell yourself it's normal, that the stiffness in your knees, the burning in your joints, the sudden spikes in blood pressure are all just a part of aging, but they're not entirely. What you're feeling might be the silent aftermath of what you've been putting on your plate every single day. You sit down to eat what you've always eaten. Maybe a grilled steak, maybe a piece of chicken, maybe some cold cuts with bread and a side of cheese. Familiar foods, safe foods, or so you thought. But your body is changing, and what once gave you energy may now be draining your life faster than you realize. The biggest lie they sold you after 60 is that your suffering is inevitable, that growing weaker is just part of the plan. But aging doesn't mean suffering, and pain is not your destiny. What most seniors don't realize is that many of their symptoms, chronic fatigue, memory lapses, aching muscles, poor sleep, numb fingers, pressure in the chest, aren't caused by the passage of time. They're caused by inflammation, silent, constant, deadly, and much of it starts in one place: your diet. More specifically, meat. Not all meat, but 3 types in particular that wreak havoc on a body over 60. These meats were never made for an aging system. Not in the quantity, not with the additives, not with the hormonal baggage they now carry. You may be eating them because your doctor never told you not to, because they're sold as protein, because your friends do it, because it tastes good. But you've also noticed the aftermath. You feel heavier, slower. You wake up with your legs stiff. You forget small things more often. You sit longer before standing. You're more cautious with stairs. And you've started to wonder, quietly, painfully, if this is the beginning of the end. But it doesn't have to be. This is where the shift begins. This is where awareness can lead to power, because identifying the silent enemies in your food is the first step toward reclaiming your mobility, your clarity, your strength. And it all starts by exposing the truth about the meats you were never supposed to keep eating after 60. Stay to the very end, because the final meat on this list, it's the one that's likely on your table every week, and it may be quietly shaving years off your life. You've been told they're safe, even healthy: lean cuts, white meat, low-fat cold cuts, words that promise nutrition, strength, and longevity. But what if those labels were just marketing? What if the very meats you're relying on to stay strong are actually accelerating your decline? After 60, your body no longer processes food the way it used to. Your liver is slower. Your kidneys filter with less efficiency. Your gut bacteria, crucial for absorbing nutrients and fighting inflammation, are in decline. And yet, despite all of this, most people keep feeding their bodies as if they're 30. The truth is brutal. Certain meats, especially the ones promoted as light or fit, are filled with compounds your aging system simply cannot handle. They may be low in fat, yes, but they're high in sodium, preservatives, nitrites, and hidden hormones, all of which attack the very systems you need to protect most: your heart, your brain, your joints, your blood vessels. Take cold cuts, for example. Turkey breast from the supermarket, ham slices, roast beef deli meat. These are sold as practical, protein-rich options, but they're saturated in sodium phosphate, used to keep them moist and shelf-stable. That same chemical, however, stiffens your arteries over time and drains calcium from your bones. You eat it because it's easy, but what you're really doing is aging your body from the inside out. Then there are the so-called lean red meats, cuts with less visible fat. But under the surface, they still carry hemi-iron in doses that, for older adults, become dangerous. Hemi-iron oxidizes quickly in the bloodstream and is strongly linked to increased cardiovascular disease risk in people over 60, not to mention the advanced glycation end products, AGEs, that form when you cook meat at high temperatures: grilling, searing, frying. These compounds accelerate tissue aging, reduce elasticity in your blood vessels, and inflame your joints. The worst part? These meats don't cause sharp, obvious pain. They work slowly, silently. You don't feel the inflammation. At first, you just feel tired. You sleep lighter. Your knees ache when you get up. You forget why you walked into a room. You think, "I'm just getting old." But you're not. You're under attack. Every bite is a message to your body, either one of healing or one of harm. And many of the meats considered safe are sending the wrong message day after day. Remember, the food industry isn't concerned with how you feel at 60 or 70 or 80. Their concern is profit, not your pressure, shelf life, not your lifespan, but that changes now, because in the next section, you'll learn exactly why red meat, yes, even the ones labeled grass-fed or premium, can be one of the most inflammatory choices for people over 60. And if you think, I only eat it occasionally, prepare yourself. Even small amounts can build up damage silently over the years. Don't miss this next one. You think it's just a steak, just a piece of roast, just one indulgence. But for your body, especially after 60, it's not just food, it's fuel for inflammation. Every bite of red meat you take sets off a chain reaction in your system, one that your younger body might have handled. But now it's different. Your cells are more vulnerable, your arteries less flexible, your immune system more reactive, and red meat hits harder than ever before. Let's break it down. Red meat is rich in saturated fats and hemi-iron. On paper, that sounds like strength. Iron is good, right? Fats give you energy. That's what they've told you. But what they haven't told you is what happens after digestion. That saturated fat lodges into artery walls, thickening the blood, making your heart work harder for every beat. That hemi-iron, it oxidizes in your bloodstream, triggering free radicals. And those radicals, they don't just float around. They attack your joints, your brain tissue, your heart valves, quietly, every day. And that's just the meat itself. Now add fire. Every time you grill, sear, or fry red meat, you're not just cooking, it's chemical warfare. You're producing heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs. These compounds form on the surface of charred meat, and when you eat them, they're absorbed straight into your blood, then passed to your liver. But at 60 plus, your detox pathways aren't what they used to be. That means those toxins stick around longer, circulate more, damage more. Over time, it's not just pain you feel. It's stiffness. It's that heavy, dragging fatigue in your legs. It's that sudden shortness of breath after climbing stairs. It's that brain fog you chalk up to stress or sleep. But it's deeper than that. It's systemic, and it's driven in large part by what you're still putting on your plate. You may be thinking, but I eat grass-fed, organic, only on weekends. Let's be honest, even the cleanest red meat still carries hemi-iron, still triggers your body's inflammatory pathways, still puts strain on your kidneys and liver, and even occasional intake over the course of years adds up. According to a major study published in the British Medical Journal, people over 60 who consume more than 76 gaiacs of red meat per day have a 20% higher risk of early death, primarily due to heart disease, cancer, and metabolic disorders. That's not alarmism. That's cold data, numbers that reflect thousands of lives, many of whom, like you, thought one steak couldn't possibly hurt. But here's the paradox. Your goal isn't to cut out meat forever. It's to understand which meats your body can still handle and which ones it can't. Red meat, especially grilled or processed, is one of the hardest to break down and one of the most damaging when left unaddressed. In the next section, we'll talk about the meat that's hiding behind a healthy mask, cold cuts. You've probably got them in your fridge right now, but after what you learn next, you may never look at that sandwich the same way again. You open the fridge, you grab a few slices of turkey breast, maybe a bit of ham, slide them into a sandwich. It's easy, it's quick, and it feels light. Lean protein, right? Less fat than red meat. No grill, no oil, just convenience. But here's the truth. That sandwich may be silently destroying your arteries, draining your energy, and aging you faster than you think. Cold cuts are some of the most misleading foods in your kitchen. Marketed as healthy, low-fat, and heart-smart, they hide behind packaging that's been engineered to make you feel safe. But what's inside? A cocktail of chemicals your 60-plus body was never meant to process. Sodium nitrate, sodium phosphate, preservatives, additives, flavor enhancers, artificial coloring, all working together to keep that meat soft, pink, and appetizing. But inside your body, they do something else entirely. Let's talk sodium. You already know it affects blood pressure, but what you may not know is how extreme this effect becomes after 60. Your blood vessels naturally lose elasticity with age. Add a high sodium load to that, and it's like pumping water through a stiff, narrowing hose. Your heart has to push harder, your kidneys strain to flush the excess, and your blood pressure doesn't just rise, it surges, silently, consistently. Sodium phosphate, used to preserve moisture in cold cuts, binds to calcium and strips it from your bones. That means every sandwich could be slowly eroding your bone density, leading to brittle bones, silent fractures, back pain, and increased risk of falls, a leading cause of death in seniors. Then there's the cancer link. The World Health Organization has officially classified processed meats, including ham, bacon, and sausages, as Group 1 carcinogens. That means there is direct evidence they cause cancer, particularly colorectal cancer. The mechanism? Nitrites convert into nitrosamines in your gut, which directly damage cells and DNA. And your aging gut lining? It's more permeable, more fragile, more likely to let those compounds slip through into your bloodstream. You think of processed meat as a quick fix, a lunch option, a snack, but inside your body, it's an accelerant, feeding silent inflammation, weakening your defenses. And the worst part? It doesn't make you feel sick right away. You just feel a little more tired, a little more swollen, a little more forgetful, until one day you don't feel like walking far. Your legs burn, your knees ache, your energy crashes by noon. And you don't know why, but your body does. It's been fighting the battle you couldn't see. Let this be the wake-up call. That plastic-wrapped convenience is not worth the price you'll pay in mobility, memory, or longevity. And the hardest truth? Most people don't quit until it's too late. In the next section, we'll turn to one of the most trusted meats of all, chicken, a food you've likely leaned on for decades. But what if even that isn't as safe as it seems? You'll want to hear this. You've made the switch. You gave up the bacon. You cut down the red meat. And now, it's chicken almost every day. Grilled, baked, boiled, skinless, boneless, it feels light. It feels healthy. Doctors say it's lean protein. Friends say it's safe. But what no one says, what almost no one knows, is that chicken may be quietly sabotaging your health just as much as the meats you left behind. Because poultry today is not what it used to be. Decades ago, chickens were raised slowly, naturally. They matured over months. They ate grains. They roamed outdoors. But now, today's poultry industry is built for speed and profit. Most chickens are raised in a matter of weeks, pumped with growth hormones, antibiotics, and stress-inducing living conditions that leave behind biochemical residue in the meat itself. And that's what you eat. Let's start with hormones. While many countries ban hormonal additives, certain growth stimulants are still used indirectly in feed and breeding methods. These hormones disrupt your endocrine system, especially dangerous after 60, when hormone balance is already fragile. The result? Increased risk of prostate enlargement in men, hormonal imbalance in women, and disrupted sleep patterns for both. Then, there's the antibiotic load. Chickens are routinely dosed to prevent disease in crowded conditions. But over time, trace amounts of these antibiotics make their way into your food, and in your gut, already less resilient with age, they disturb your microbiome. That microscopic ecosystem is critical for immune defense, digestion, and even brain health. When it's imbalanced, you absorb fewer nutrients, experience more bloating and inflammation, and even risk cognitive decline. And let's not forget, even skinless chicken contains arachidonic acid, a compound linked to systemic inflammation. This is especially troubling for seniors with arthritis, chronic joint pain, or cardiovascular issues. You may not feel it after one meal, but daily intake over months or years turns mild discomfort into chronic pain. It builds, it lingers, and worst of all, you blame yourself for feeling weak, tired, slow, when really it's not you, it's the food. And what about preparation? That grilled chicken breast might look clean, but unless you're cooking it at low heat with minimal browning, you're still producing the same toxic agents, advanced glycation end products that inflame your arteries and accelerate aging. Add a marinade with sugar or soy sauce, and the damage multiplies. It gets worse. Supermarket rotisserie chickens, beloved for convenience, are often injected with sodium, preservatives, and flavor-enhancing chemicals to improve shelf life. You're not eating just chicken. You're eating a processed product wrapped in marketing, and your body feels the consequences. Here's the paradox that no one wants to admit. The chicken you eat to stay healthy might be doing the opposite, especially if you're over 60, especially if you already feel more tired than usual, especially if your digestion feels sluggish, especially if your joints ache more than they used to. But this doesn't mean you have to give up meat altogether. It means you need to know the truth. And it means learning what your body needs now, not what it needed 30 years ago. In the final section, we'll reveal how to reverse the damage, what to eat instead, and how just a few changes at the dinner table could add not just years to your life, but life to your years. Don't miss what comes next. Maybe you're thinking it's already done, that the damage is irreversible, that after decades of eating the wrong meats, changing now won't make a difference. But that's the biggest lie of all, because the human body is astonishing in one way. It wants to heal, even after 60, even after 70, even after years of silent inflammation, stiffness, and fatigue. If you give it the right tools, it responds quickly. You've already taken the first step, awareness. You now know that red meats, cold cuts, and even seemingly healthy poultry can turn against you when the body is more fragile, that the price you pay for convenience, flavor, or habit might be your mobility, your memory, or your independence. But knowledge means nothing without action. So here's where things change. Start with protein alternatives that reduce inflammation instead of feeding it. Fatty fish like wild salmon, sardines, or mackerel are rich in omega-3s, powerful agents that repair cell membranes, nourish your brain, and reduce joint pain. Unlike red meat, these proteins help your arteries relax instead of harden. They improve your circulation, balance your hormones, and ease the stiffness in your back and legs. Then there's plant-based protein, lentils, chickpeas, quinoa, even tofu or tempeh. These aren't just for vegans. They're nutrient-dense, fiber-rich, and easy to digest. They don't carry heme-iron or toxic preservatives. They fuel your muscles without taxing your kidneys or liver. And the fiber? It feeds your gut bacteria, repairing your digestion from the inside out. Add more greens, spinach, kale, arugula, loaded with magnesium and potassium, two minerals most seniors are dangerously deficient in. These help relax blood vessels, prevent nighttime cramps, and stabilize your heartbeat. It's not about cutting food. It's about upgrading it, trading poison for power, inflammation for restoration. And here's the beautiful part. Your body will notice. Within days of reducing inflammatory meats, many people report better sleep, clearer thinking, less joint stiffness in the morning, easier digestion, more stable blood pressure. Even your mood can lift, because inflammation doesn't just attack the body, it clouds the mind. If you feel overwhelmed, begin small. Remove cold cuts from your fridge. Replace one meat-based meal a day with fish or legumes. Use spices like turmeric, garlic, and ginger. They calm the inflammation. Cook with olive oil instead of butter. Drink more water. Listen to your body. It speaks more clearly than you think. And don't do it alone. Share this video with someone you love, a spouse, a sibling, a friend who's always tired, or who doesn't sleep well anymore. They might not know what you now understand, that aging doesn't have to mean suffering, that mobility is a gift we protect or surrender, starting with what's on our plate. This journey isn't about chasing youth, it's about honoring life, preserving your ability to walk without pain, to climb stairs without fear, to remember names, to be present at your grandchildren's milestones, to feel alive, not just alive still, but truly alive. And it starts with what you eat today. You've come this far. That already means something, because most people don't. Most people ignore the signs. They feel the pain in their knees and call it age. They wake up groggy and say it's just how things are now. They eat the same way they always did, because changing feels like defeat. But you stopped. You listened. You saw the truth, that what we eat after 60 doesn't just fill us, it shapes us. It determines how long we walk without help, how clearly we think, how deeply we sleep. You're not chasing youth, you're protecting dignity. That quiet strength of knowing your body can still carry you. Your mind can still remember, your hands can still hold what matters. There is nothing dramatic about this kind of transformation. It happens in silence. It happens at the grocery store when you reach for salmon instead of sausage. It happens when you say no to the packaged ham and yes to lentils with garlic and turmeric. It happens when your fork becomes a tool of healing, not just habit. It's not too late, not if you start now. The inflammation can slow, the stiffness can ease, the blood pressure can stabilize, the fear of falling, of forgetting, of being a burden. That fear can fade, because food, when chosen with intention, becomes your ally. Let this be your quiet revolution, a shift at the dinner table, a decision you make not once, but daily. And each time you choose better, you gift yourself something most people surrender. Too early, the right to move freely, to think clearly, to live fully. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself walking with steady legs, breathing easily, waking up refreshed, feeling light, sharp, steady. Imagine the look in your children's eyes when they realize you're still strong. That's not a fantasy. That's what healing looks like. And it begins not in a hospital, not in a pill bottle, but right where you are, at home, at the table, with the next bite. Because every bite is a decision. And now you know exactly which ones could take years away from you and which ones can give them back. Choose well.